Being recognized as a distinguished alumni is a great honor and one that I hope that our current students strive to achieve one day. Portraits of all who have been honored hang in the foyer of David Prouty School right outside this auditorium. The Prouty community is grateful to Cornerstone Bank for sponsoring the program, including professional portraits since 2007. So thank you to Cornerstone Bank. Today we're recognizing two distinguished alumni. I would like to introduce the first, and then he will come up and say a few words. Our first honoree, and you know him well, is Fire Chief Robert Parsons, class of 1982. Robert Parsons, fire chief for the town of Spencer since 2002, has been in the fire service since graduating from David Prouty High School. He began his career in the town of East Brookfield, rising through the ranks until becoming fire chief there in 1999, following in his father's footsteps. He has worked as a fire instructor, fire investigator, EMT, and has held numerous other roles in the fire and emergency medical services community. Chief Parsons is vice chairman of Massachusetts Fire District 7, the organization which coordinates mutual aid and training for fire and rescue services among 28 cities and towns. A member of the Building and Property Reuse Committee for the town of Spencer, and an ex officio member of David Prouty High School Building Committee. He's also instrumental when we had COVID happening, making sure that things operated smoothly. Chief Parsons graduated in 1987 from Worcester State College with a Bachelor of Arts degree in history and obtained a master's degree in public administration from Anna Maria College in 2010. Bob and his wife, Darlene, who met when they were students at David Prouty, have been happily married for 30 years and have two children, Thomas and Emma, also graduates of David Prouty. At this time, I'd like to have Chief Parsons come up and say some words to our students.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad everybody was able to get out of class to be here today. In preparing for today and thinking about my biography that they just read, I realized that I am not a person that looks for attention to myself or wants to be that center of attention. My wife would say I tend to sell myself a little short. I like to sit in the shadows and do what I need to do to move forward every day. As I was wondering what I should talk about and spent weeks working on this very short speech, I came up with this. As unusual it does seem, not like my schoolwork, I didn't do this last night. I tend to procrastinate with schoolwork. I would like to send a big thank you to the selection committee for selecting me for the Distinguished Alumni Award. There's been some very distinguished people selected in years past, and I'm glad to be part of that group and hope that I can live up to that honor of those behind me and those coming in front of me. I find myself wondering, why me? I'm not a doctor, I'm not a judge, a school teacher, or an administrator. I have not written any books, discovered new medicine, or built a hospital like my great-grandfather did in South Africa. I'm just a humble person that grew up in East Brookfield, and where I continue to live, about 2 miles from where I grew up. My close friend growing up was Mr. Fahey. Everybody knows him from here to high school. As we lived in the same neighborhood, and it was a place where you could come home and find someone like Mr. Fahey sitting at your table, eating lunch with your mom, even if you weren't there. We were all very close then, and I had a great childhood growing up in East Brookfield. I guess my life has been consumed by being a community helper. I received the Spencer Meritorious Award in 2022 with my work on COVID for the town and working in the community and getting immunizations. I also received 2 commendations while I was working for the state police as a dispatch supervisor for 2 calls while I was working there that were truly life-altering. As my wife says, she feels what I have done for these individuals during their time of need will last forever in their minds, sometimes as a final moment and/or a first greeting happening in the same moment for those times, and I hope I made a difference. For the past 41 years, working as an EMT primarily in the town of East Brookfield until 2022 when I came to Spencer, I would like to think I made a difference as that helper. I remember many times leaving my dad's shop, where I worked as a mechanic at the time, to go on fire calls and EMS calls every day. In 2012, I was instrumental in establishing the Spencer Firefighters Association with the full intent that whatever we raised during fundraising would be given right back to the community. And one way we do this is through scholarships here at David Prouty for Spencer graduating seniors, or whether you're at Prouty or any other institution, whether it's St. John's or any other student that comes from Prouty that's graduating, or any other senior here at David Prouty from another community. Since we started this scholarship fund, we have given out over $45,000 worth of scholarships to deserving students. Very proud of that. I, along with Senator Durant, who graduated in 1982, which, Donnie, was the best class. Just want you to know that. My wife also graduated in 82 and served as our class treasurer, and true to her former self, handles all the money in the family. I, along with about 30 other kids from East Brookfield, came to the school not knowing what to prepare for from the little town of East Brookfield. And I must admit, a little nerve-wracking coming from a smaller class, smaller school. There were not many kids that I grew up with that were in my homeroom, but I persevered. I wasn't the smartest kid by any means, but I worked very hard, and I enjoyed my time here at Prouty, other than when I was misinterpreted or misheard and I ended up in detention. Don't know how that happened. Mr. Powers, who liked to give detentions to me weekly, and I don't understand why. I was what they called back then a talker, or what you referred to today as an extrovert. Sports, especially football and baseball, were my 2 passions, and really the reason why I was at school and passed classes is really the truth. I really was smart, but I just didn't push myself. Something I realized later in life that perhaps I should have done, and when I achieved my master's degree in public administration, I made sure I pushed myself, graduating with a 4.0 from Anna Maria College. I knew I could do it. The teachers here will always have a special connection to my life. My wife always wonders why I never became a meteorologist. I love weather, and that all started with a meteorology class with Mr. Latola. The Weather Channel is my channel of choice. I see clouds today and remember what he called, what he described to us as their names. Really appreciated that class for sure. You may not realize now how important classes are that you take in high school. One that I took in high school was Mrs. Olson's typing class. I realized the only reason why I really took it was for the girls that were in the class. But in today's world, where you use a computer each and every day, it has become very relevant with what we do with writing grants, reports, everything else today we do on computers. I'm very grateful I took that class. Some other teachers that are fresh in my mind is Mr. Pavini. I was one to take somewhat easier classes if I could, but having him for senior English, though, was the best class I ever had. He made us work for our grades, and I have to say that D was a hard effort, and I walked away proud of that D. I loved history so much. Mr. Mulaney and Miss Miller were 2 of my favorite classes, and I thought being a history teacher would be cool. I thought I could do some research, but I never continued on with my passion. I still read history books, especially World War II books today. There's a great bookstore up in Wells, Maine. If everybody goes, it has nothing but military books. It's an awesome store. That, along with weather and history, will always be a hobby for me, and I truly enjoy it. I'm glad I took those classes here, and I have my bachelor's in history. I love doing what I can for Prouty. I currently sit on the committee for the new school as an ex officio as the fire chief. We do whatever we can to help the school out, from providing EMTs for sporting events as an example, and I try to go to every football game, basketball game, and baseball game that I can. Both of our kids went to our school here, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Both achieved their way. My son is now a career firefighter here in Spencer, and my daughter graduated from UMass Amherst and will be graduating in May with her master's degree from Simmons College. She works with autistic teenagers. Awesome education. I would recommend, though, anyone wanting to get their bachelor's and then a master's, do it all at once. It was much, much harder when I did it in my 40s with kids. I went to Worcester State College, now university, in the 5-year program. Once again, I said I wasn't really putting my effort in. I graduated at Bachelor's of Arts degree in history. I played football there at Worcester State College. It was probably one of the happiest years I've ever had, was playing football there and traveling with a large group of friends, and I'm still very friendly with those individuals today. I went to college because that's what you were supposed to do back then, but I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I graduated from college, still not really knowing what I should do and what should I do in life. But you know what? That's okay. I am who I am today, and based on that path I took, thrilled at the life that I have lived. Crazy to think that I worked my way through college to pay it. No scholarships, no college loans, no parents that had the means to pay me through. It was the best thing I ever did. But then again, back then it wasn't as crazy, as expensive as it is today. One of the people that I can say I really looked up to and I tried to emulate is my dad. He passed away in 2014, but he was a large influence on my life and how he treated people that lives with me today. He was a mechanic by trade and owned his own business. He was also a Marine veteran, a fire chief, a Mason, and a Shriner. He was a community helper, as I am. He treated people with dignity and respect, 2 things I try to think about every day of my life. He helped people when they were down in their luck and had car troubles, couldn't pay their bills. I remember many people paying us $5 a month to pay their bills to get their cars fixed, and that was okay. He was never a rich man monetarily, but he was a rich man in life. At his wake, the line was down the street and lasted over 5 hours. He was a well-respected and honored person, and I hope I want to be remembered that day. My mom was another one of those heroes that everyone doesn't know about. She stood in the background of my dad, but just as my wife supports me today, without them and my dad, we would not been able to do what we did. I miss my parents dearly today, and I thank my wife for allowing me to do what I do. I was hired here in 2002 as the first full-time fire chief for the town of Spencer, and we brought the fire department into prominence throughout the area and our fire district. We now have 9 full-time firefighters and have just started doing 24-hour shifts for the town of Spencer. And in the 1960s, when they built the station in 1973, I have news clippings from then where the fire chiefs then were trying to get full-time firefighters. And it took us over 40 years to be able to accomplish that. I have brought in over $2 million to the community in grants, and I feel that when it's time for me to leave, I'll move the department forward and help the community during my time here. I believe that every single day you need to learn something new and should achieve something, even if it's so very small. My total life has been spent helping people. I've mowed lawns, worked McDonald's in high school right here in town, from my dad through college. I worked at the state police as a dispatch supervisor for a number of years, and finally here in Spencer as fire chief for the last 21 years. A total of 42 years in the fire service between Spencer and East Brookfield. A job that I feel is the best job in the world. Every single day I go to work looking forward to it. I don't get up in the morning and go, I gotta go to work. I love people. I love helping people, and I love my job. I guess in parting, I would say, Always remember the person that you meet today and help today, or take the time to just chat with them, no matter how insignificant you might feel or think that means, it could mean the world to them. Always give back in honor of what you have received. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Parsons. Our second honoree today is the Honorable Thomas O'Neill, class of 1984. The Honorable Thomas O'Neill is celebrating the first anniversary of his appointment to the Connecticut Superior Court, where he presides in the Family Division in Bridgeport. Prior to his appointment, he was a partner with Stanford, Connecticut law firm Day Pitney LLP, where he had been employed for 25 years. He represented clients in a wide variety of civil and commercial litigation matters, mediation, and arbitration in New York and New England. He also served on the Connecticut Victim Compensation. He also served on the firm's pro bono committee. Since 2019, he has been the State of Connecticut Victim Compensation Commissioner. Earlier in his career, he was a Connecticut Superior Court law clerk. A 1984 graduate of David Prouty, Judge O'Neill studied business and economics at Stonehill College, earning his bachelor's degree there cum laude in 1988. He was awarded his Juris Doctorate degree cum laude from Suffolk Law School in 1991. He and his wife Suzanne have 2 children and reside in Fairfield, Connecticut. Please welcome Honorable Thomas O'Neill.
Good morning, everyone. It's a tough act to follow Fire Chief Parsons. He's done a lot of good work. Public service is a wonderful thing. He's given back to the community. Me, not so much, so it's a tough act to follow. I want to start by saying thank you to the committee. I appreciate this award. It's an honor, and I appreciate it. I also want to thank a few other people. With me today is my wife. Yesterday was our 32nd anniversary, and she's put up with me for 32 years, and she should be getting the award today. Also, my 2 kids are here today, Jennifer and Michael. They're the light of my life. They keep things light. They make me laugh, and I'm fortunate to have them here with me today. Last but not least, I have my 2 parents here with me today, and unfortunately, we can't select our parents. And I hit the lottery when I was born to these 2 parents. They've been incredible support for me. They've supported me in everything I wanted to do, and they've never closed any doors that I wanted to pursue. My mother is a graduate of David Prouty, she probably doesn't want me to say this, but 1957. So we have a long line here in Spencer. I love this town. It's a wonderful town. I love this school, although I haven't been back in quite some time. I graduated in '84, my 40th reunion this year. But it brings back great memories. I have great friends that I met here, great experiences, and when I think back on my time here at David Prouty, it's wonderful memories and a big smile on my face. My father tells this story before I even got to high school, maybe 8, 9, 10 years old. One of the teachers had an assignment, and they asked us to write down what we wanted to do when we got out of high school. So I wrote down my list, and it was to go to college. And back then, it wasn't a guarantee that people went to college, but it was one of my goals, and I wrote down the name of the school I wanted to go to. Then I wrote down I wanted to go to law school, and again, I wrote down the name of the law school that I wanted to go to. Again, because I was going to law school, I wanted to become a lawyer, and then I wanted to become a judge. So even way back when I was young, those were my main goals in life. And I've been very fortunate to, in fact, have been able to live out and check off those boxes. And I say fortunate because when I look back, I was a pretty average kid. I wasn't incredibly super popular, wasn't the most popular kid. Played some sports, but I was an average player at sports, although my recollection is Representative Berthium, I think I struck him out a few times playing, and maybe even Fire Chief Parsons, I'm not sure. But, I was an average player, I was an average student, no awards, no incredible accomplishments, wasn't brilliant by any means. When you go through the 1984 yearbook, you get to the officer section, you won't see my name. You go through the superlative section, and I'm not there either. And as you go through the yearbook, it's hard to even determine I was even at the school. But the two things I was above average at was the first was I tried really hard. No matter what I did, I put in tremendous effort to do the best job I could do. Another comment, my father one time, I used to work at McDonald's. Bob worked there as well. I worked there for many years. Great, I loved it. I had a great time working there. A lot of good memories, a lot of good friends. But as I would usually work the night shift, late closing shift, 4 o'clock till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning. And I would leave the house at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And my dad came up to me one time, put his hand around me and said, why are you doing that? Why are you going to work for 4 o'clock and you're leaving at 3 o'clock? They're not paying you for that hour. You should get there at 5 or 4. And that wasn't my approach. I like to get there early, see what was going on, see what was happening, kind of plan out my day, and know where I was working that particular shift because I wanted to do a good job. Whether it was being assigned to the parking lot, you go and you pick up everything in the parking lot. If I saw something in the woods, paper, I'd go in the woods, I'd pick it up, I'd clean it up. And some people wouldn't do that. They'd walk by, they'd see it in the woods, and they'd be like, you know what, it's in the woods, I'm not gonna go get it. But that wasn't my approach because I like to really try hard. If I was cleaning the inside of the restaurant, if I saw a French fry that was way in the back and in the corner, I would go in there and I'd pick up that French fry and I'd clean up the dining room because I wanted to do a good job. Whether it was working the fries, making sure that all the fries were perfectly straight, no matter what it was, I tried as hard as I could. And you will never regret, ever, working hard. In fact, it will help you if you work hard now. You work hard now, you learn some skills, it makes life easier down the road. In fact, if you don't try hard, in my opinion, you're going to regret it. I look back and I thought over the years I worked hard, but there was more capacity there, and I regret that I didn't, in fact, work even a little harder at life. It opens up more doors, get into better schools, maybe get a promotion, get a better job, and it will never go unnoticed if you really work hard at whatever you do and take pride in everything you do. The second thing that I think I was above average at is not letting failure defeat me. Life's going to be about failures, and you can treat it one of two ways. You can fail and just give up, and that's easy. It's easy to give up. It's easy just to say, you know what, I failed at this. Forget it. I'm not going to do it any longer. The harder thing is not to do that, and I had, fortunately, the competitive nature and the ability to put failure behind me and to just plow ahead and to continue on with trying to reach my goals. I'll give you some examples. When I wrote down that list, when I was in school, and I wrote down the name of the school I wanted to go to, it was Holy Cross. And I didn't go to Holy Cross. I went to Stonehill, and so that was a failure. I could have said, you know what, I'm knocked off my path, my dreams. I'm not going to pursue them anymore, but I didn't. I plugged along. I was going through at Stonehill, which, again, was a wonderful experience and a great school for me. As I started to get closer to graduation, starting to think about law school, one of the goals on my list, I started applying to law schools. And, of course, the law school on my list was Harvard. And sure enough, didn't get into Harvard. I wasn't Harvard material, and I could have taken that and said, you know what? I didn't reach my goal, I could just give up. But I didn't. I continued on, and I went to Suffolk University Law School, and I attended there for 3 years. And while I was in law school, one of the main goals of law students when you go to law school is to get on the law review. The law review is an organization of the law school where you get together with other students and you write articles and they get published. And if you are elected to law review, it is much easier to get a job, and it opens a lot of doors. But when I was in law school, sure enough, I didn't make law review, and I wasn't elected. I remember in the summertime, you had to compete for the opportunity to be on law review. You had to write an article during the summertime. And I was working at the same time I was writing, probably didn't put in the best article that I probably could have, and sure enough, I did not get selected to law review. But again, I could have said, you know what, forget it. They don't want me in law review. I'm going to go in a different direction. But I plugged along. And then I graduated law school in 1991. In 1991, way before all of you were born, the economy was terrible, so it was hard to get a job. And so here I am, a graduate. I've taken out student loans. I've incurred a lot of debt, and I'm getting out of law school, and I can't find a job. I remember going on interviews and getting rejected and getting turned down. But again, I just had that focus to look at the end game and to not worry about the failures and to not let that defeat me. And eventually I did land a very nice job at a firm out of Stamford, Connecticut. The firm grew to about 300 lawyers. And typically at a firm, the way it works is you join the firm. After about 7 or 8 years, you become partner, part owner of the company. But sure enough, a little bit of bad luck, I joined that firm in 2000. In 2007, 2008, I was up for partner. And again, way before your time, back in 2007, 2008, the economy collapsed due to the Lehman Brothers crisis in New York. And the economy was terrible. So the other partners of the firm sat me down and said, yeah, sorry, Tom, you're not going to make partner. The economy's terrible. We don't know if we're going to be having all the same clients, and we're going to turn you down for partner. And I could have left the firm. I could have went in a different direction, but I stayed. I just worked harder. Instead of being mad and coming in the next day maybe at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, I came in early. And I stayed late, and I kept working hard. And sure enough, I eventually became a partner. So the moral of the story is I think those are two qualities that you don't necessarily have to be born with, but I truly believe that if you do those two things, you work hard, you take pride in everything you do, whether it's going to law school, becoming a lawyer, whether it's being the fire chief in town, whether it's working at McDonald's, whether it's being a carpenter or electrician, take pride in everything you do and work hard at it. And it will always, it'll never go unnoticed. And it's better than the alternative, not working hard. So if you do that, and if you don't let failure get in the way, life is about failure. And again, you can approach it one of two ways. You can say, look, I failed. I'm going to give up. I'm not going to try anymore. And that's the easy way to handle things. But if you don't do that and you learn from your failures, you learn from your mistakes, and you get better, no question you'll be able to achieve your goals. Take it from someone like myself, again, very average person, no special skills. But if you focus on that goal and don't worry about the noise around you, and you keep focusing on what you want to accomplish, you certainly will be able to do that. I really love this school. I love this town. I love coming back. Puts a big smile on my face. And each and every one of you, I truly wish you all the best. I hope that you all live out your dreams and you accomplish all your goals. And thank you, and again, thank you to the committee. And it's an honor, and I appreciate it. So thank you, and best of luck.
Thank you. In a moment, I'm going to have both of our honorees come up to receive their recognitions. But before that, I would like to invite two other guests, Representative Berthium and Senator Durant, if you could come join me up here.
Thank you, everybody. I'm State Senator Peter Durant, for those who may not know. I just really enjoyed this day, and I enjoyed listening to both inductees speaking, and I'm very happy, Chief, that you and I, as graduates in '82, were able to pave the way for the '84 graduates, the young kids here. So that was always good. But you know, when I hear this, I think they both had great stories. They talked about how, you know, they were average kids, just like many of you. And, but they fought through the adversities that they had in their life, which were different. They followed their passions, which were important to them, and they worked towards their goals, which they've achieved. And I just think that's a fantastic story from both of our inductees. You know, and as I'm sitting there listening, I'm thinking that old saying, right, which is do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life. And I think that's true for both of our inductees today. So I just want to say congratulations from the Massachusetts State Senate, and I'm going to turn it over to the youngster here,
Yeah.
Representative Berthium.
Hi, how are you guys doing? So I've had the pleasure of working with Chief Parsons for like 20 years. And he's dedicated his life to the safety of everybody in this room and everybody in Spencer and East Brookfield. So I congratulate you on that, and this award is well deserved. And Tommy, we graduated high school together, but an incredible career, and good for you for your perseverance and where you've come and where you've gotten to. But one thing that they didn't tell you is I knew both of these guys in high school, and they kind of sold themselves short. You know, everybody in this room knows there's a certain group of people that everybody respects. You know, there's a few students here that everybody in this room respects, that how they carry themselves, what they do, they're nice to everybody. That was these two people. So when Tommy said he was low-key and Bob, that's not what it was. They were just good people, and everybody respected them. So, and judges are also full of wisdom. So I think we could take it from him when he says class of '84 was way better than '82, because judges are the smartest people in the world. So, so congratulations to both of you.
At this time, if I could invite both honorees to come join us on stage. Thank you, David Prouty students. I wish you a safe vacation. Thank you very much for attending this event.